It may be hard to imagine now, but there was a time when hip hop music actually tried to teach its audience something. Some of the same music that we partied to, we were able to listen to and later gain lessons from that we could apply to our lives practically as we grew up. On the video that I did on the first 50 years of hip hop, I mentioned something that Dr. Umar Johnson said recently in a couple of posts. He opined that in its 50 years of existence, hip hop hasn't done anything for the black community. To be accurate, he said that not a single institution was built by hip hop, nor has hip hop benefited the black community financially as a whole in the 50 years that it's been around. He went on to say that hip hop music is a destructive force in the black community. I agree with a lot of what Dr. Umar has to say, but like I said in the aforementioned video, I moderately disagree on this. Ironically, I was going to do a video about what hip-hop music has taught me in my life, and then I saw Dr. Umar making those comments, which fell right in line with what I was going to say anyway. So I can address what Dr. Umar said by telling you what hip-hop music has taught me at the same time. I believe Dr. Umar is over 40 years old, so he should know better than to make blatant statements like hip-hop music is a destructive force, given he was around when hip-hop music did offer its audience something more than what it mainly offers now. It's ironic because part of the mission of the B-Boy Stand's YouTube channel is to show people that hip-hop music historically was not about glorifying violence, drugs, and abusing women. In fact, it was founded on the principles of peace, unity, love, and having fun. It was partly created to help stop gang violence. The shit that Dr. Umar is talking about, what he is criticizing, is exactly what we here at the B-Boy Stand's YouTube channel criticize. But the difference is, we're only talking about the last 25 years or so of hip-hop music, not all of hip-hop music. I don't know if he forgot about the first 25 years, or is he just being provocative for the sake of being controversial and for views? But he definitely needs to make that distinction. With regards to what I've learned through hip-hop music, I'm going to just start randomly telling you some of the things I've learned or that were reinforced to me, mainly as a youth, that I was able to apply to my life growing up. I don't know why this is the first one that popped in my head, but back in the day, I never even heard of Rikers Island. So when Kool G Rap did that song Rikers Island in '87, it was like a cautionary tale, telling the listener all the ill shit that goes on at the jail. Which was like a deterrent for me not to want to go to our version of Rikers Island in Philly, which is State Road or Delaware County if you have the county. On the song Hey Young World, on the Slick Rick album The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, he said a lot of things. But one thing that stuck with me, one piece of advice that he gave in that song, he said, "Hey kid, walk straight, master your high." As young boys growing up, experiencing and experimenting with certain mind-altering substances, you go through a phase when you're learning your limit, no matter what your twist is. So you party, you go too far, and before you know it, you stumble and making a fool of yourself. You're supposed to learn your limit and know it, master your high. He wasn't advocating drug or alcohol use, but he encouraged responsible consumption. In other words, if you're going to do it right. Jeru the Damager. He mentioned the name Imhotep in the song My Mind Spray on the classic album The Sun Rises in the East in 1993. I never heard of the name before, but I was compelled to look him up and learn about him and find out why this dope MC name dropped Imhotep. I learned who Imhotep was through Jeru the Damager, and he's not the Scorpion King with the rock. I didn't grow up in a black nationalistic household, so my only knowledge of Malcolm X and the Black Panther Party and Minister Louis Farrakhan was negative propaganda that I was fed in school or on the news. It wasn't until I heard Public Enemy speak of these people in a positive way that I was inspired to read up and learn the real story, that they weren't anything like I was taught. So I indirectly learned about these people through hip-hop. Similarly, I didn't grow up in a household that played a lot or any jazz music to speak of that I can remember. I essentially learned about jazz music through Gang Starr and A Tribe Called Quest, respectively. They sampled so much jazz music that it inspired me to listen to songs that they sampled from. I learned about jazz through hip-hop. Probably the best example of learning through hip-hop music would be KRS-One's You Must Learn from the Blueprint album. And no, that ain't Jay-Z. He dropped a lot of knowledge on that album, as he should. That's why he goes by the name The Teacher. But on that song, he starts kicking facts about historical figures, many of which I never heard of, but learned from that song. I mean, we used to party hard to You Must Learn on a Friday night, but then you listen to it again on Saturday afternoon, and you can learn or be inspired to learn history from that same song. See, without songs like these and many others, people like Dr. Umar can get away with saying things like hip-hop is a destructive force or hasn't done anything for the black community. Like I mentioned in the last video, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the hip-hop music I grew up on. And what I am is a strong, resilient, intelligent, culturally aware, fun-loving individual. And it's a whole generation of other people just like me, raised on the music I was raised on, who feel the same way. Now, the question of whether hip-hop owes the black community anything is a different subject that I'll save for another video.